Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Matt, and today I read a few articles about the dynamic weather in Battlefield 1 and how much, it'll affect the gameplay, round to round. And we've seen, it's so far in two different maps. In San Quentin Scar, we see the fog that makes visibility very hard. For longer ranges, it makes the map feel a little more compact. And now with Sinai Desert, we also see a dynamic sandstorm, which looks pretty scary as it rolls in. We've all experienced the sandstorm of Gulf of Oman in Battlefield 4, and similarly, it affects the visibility of the players and makes it a little more difficult to see far ranges. The main difference I have noticed between Gulf of Oman, Sandstorm, and Sinai's is the density of the sandstorm. Holy, I keep saying Samstorm. Who the fuck is Sam? Density of the sandstorm and how much it affects the vision of the player. It is definitely a lot more dense in Battlefield 1 compared to Battlefield 4, but it does seem that the visibility does return slowly throughout the round in Battlefield 1. Fantastic. What I like about the visibility related dynamic weather is the way it forces some players to change up their playstyle. Some that like to sit back further in the map and pick off players will have to move closer into the map in order to get any kills. The addition of dynamic weather in a game like Battlefield 1 is a really good thing, as most of the weapons we see in the game do cater to some of those players that like to stay at longer ranges rather than playing close in the area. I wonder what kind of other weather we'll see, Hopefully something to do with a blizzard of some sort. I love snow maps. I always have. I made videos talking about snow maps before, and I love them so much. A blizzard of some sort, that would be pretty fantastic. If we look at the Battle of Vimy Ridge, for example, which is an actual battle, I'm sure you guys have learned about it in school and shit like that. I know I did. Fucking loved learning about World War I in school. But anyways, heavy rain and snow, made it almost impossible for the soldiers to push forward because of the quicksand-like mud of the battlefield due to the heavy rain and snow. People would literally sink inside the mud. I think dynamic weather doesn't have to just relate to the visibility of the player, and rather would be best affecting the core of how the map plays out. Changing the terrain due to the weather, maybe even adding some around that would represent a muddy, hard area to both move on foot and in vehicle, and if you get stuck in there, you're fucked. I mean, you wouldn't literally get stuck, but you'd slow down so much that people would just fucking destroy you. That would be good. Dynamic weather also seems to play out just some of the time, and sometimes you play the map and it wouldn't happen at all. We saw that in San Quentin Scars. Sometimes the heavy fog wouldn't roll in, and sometimes on Sinai Desert, out of the 4 rounds we saw, the sandstorm didn't even come in at all, which is nice. I think the one thing that a lot of players, including myself, disliked about Levolution in Battlefield 4 is how it played out the same way every single round if activated, and it would sometimes happen within the first few minutes of the round because some players would just go straight for the Levolution. Players now won't have anything to activate on the map, which is good, and won't be able to change the gameplay of the round. Everything is decided within the server and the game, which I think is a smart play on DICE's part. Dynamic weather is a really cool idea and looks pretty cool on the 2 maps that we've seen. It makes the game just a little bit more realistic and gritty. Unfortunately, here's the bad part. This is a negative. I feel like some of the dynamic weather in some of the maps will just be so fucking impossible for some computers to run, and it will really fuck some of the lower to mid-end computers, since it's a lot of debris and requires quite a bit of processing power for some people's PCs to really realize what's going on. The PC will be sitting there, okay, this is 60 frames a second, we're doing really good here, and then all of a sudden sandstorm comes in and it's like, okay, what just happened? Not everybody owns SLI 1080s and i7 5690X. I remember back when I used to have a GTX 660 when I first started doing YouTube, and the 560 Ti I had before that. And for some of you console people, just skip ahead 45 seconds or so and I'll be done with the story. I remember I used to own a GTX 660, okay? I'm sure a lot of you have owned a GTX 660, and for the time, this wasn't a bad card, and I was having no trouble running Battlefield 4 on high settings at 60 frames a second. So we're good. I'm happy, okay? I'm happy. I go into maps like Parasol Storm and Siege of Shanghai, and all of a sudden I'm dropping frames like I'm Harambe's droppings, okay? And I sat and I wondered why, why was this happening? And it was the Levolution. And on these 2 maps in particular, out of the two maps in Battlefield 4 that I chose, the so-called Levolution either relied on the debris in the air for Siege of Shanghai, after the skyscraper falls over, there's debris all over the map, and it just made me drop frames. Or, the weather on Parasol Storm, as soon as the storm kicked up into high gear on that map, my PC kicked into low gear, basically. The moral of my story is, what I'm trying to get at is I hope DICE optimizes this game properly for the sake of all people out there that are running 660s and 560 Ti's. I feel you all. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think down below about dynamic weather. I think it's pretty cool, and I make this video out of excitement for what we'll see from dynamic weather. The beta starts on the 31st, and here's another bad news fucking story. I move to my new place on the 1st of September, so those days are going to be really, really busy for me, but I'm going to try and record as much Battlefield 1 footage as possible so then I can make videos in the coming week. I also have my setup video coming and stuff like that. It just comes at a really unfortunate time for me, and I'm kind of sad about it, but it's going to be a busy week for me. I'm doing a lot of moving, and then once I'm settled in, we'll get this video making on point. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. Then we'll get the stream going and stuff like that, and it will be awesome. If you guys haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so down below. Just hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And leave me a like if you haven't done so already. I know 6 or 7 of you always like my videos, so thanks to those 7 people. Anyways, guys, thanks again for the last fucking time. I'll see you later.
Once upon a time not long ago, when people wore pajamas and lived life slow, where laws were stern and justice stood, and people were behaving like they ought.